All right. Hi there, AP Bio. I thought I would give you a study tip technique for reviewing units for the upcoming AP Bio test. So these are upcoming units, units 1 through 6 of the official AP Bio test, and we have 4 weeks until Monday, May 18th. So Chemistry of Life is that biochemistry unit you all wanted to cry your eyes out on. So properties of water, monomers and polymers, and like the structure of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, DNA, things like that. Unit 2, cell structure and function, is parts of the cell, how they structure and function, as well as the membrane and like water potential and osmosis and diffusion, basically how a cell is functioning based on its structure. There's a well-named unit here. Unit 3, cellular energetics, is about enzymes and how they help processes go easier and their function, as well as photosynthesis and cellular respiration. And fermentation, I guess, goes in there too. Unit 4, cell communication, cell cycle. So we've got mitosis and cancer related with the cell cycle. Cell communication is about feedback and signal transduction pathways and how cells kind of communicate to do more of something, less of something. Not exactly gene things, but activities and actions within the cell. So how are they talking and making that happen? Unit 5, heredity, is meiosis, and then all the Punnett square and genetic analysis. And Unit 6, we've only done online, and that's DNA structure, gene expression, and regulation, and biotechnology goes in here as well. These are just the names that are actually of the units on an AP exam description. So, if you have 4 weeks, here is my suggestion on what to do. I'm going to adjust here. The only way I could get my notebook in the full screen, I'm on the floor and the camera is up on the table. So, we unfortunately did a ton of evolution stuff, but it's not needed. So if you don't have an entire notebook like this, it's okay. But for our Unit 2, which is going to be Unit 1, Chemistry of Life, you should have somewhere in your notes this big unit guide, right? The unit guides and the study tip, or not, like the standards to study for each unit. And they roughly fit into the same format as these same 5 units. I think I pulled enzymes and cell membranes together and did a little like unit 2.5 here. So what I would recommend doing before you just begin reading your notes and going through things or reviewing PowerPoints or going online to the online resources, look here. These learning objectives that are at the end, like for example, the second one, describe the properties of the monomers and the types of bonds that connect the monomers in biological molecules. Okay, so rather than reading through these standards, can you find that answer in your notes, right? We have these are the subunits. I know proteins, we have peptide bonds, but we're connecting an amine group to the next carboxyl group, right? Carbohydrates, it's the same subunit again and again, just connecting to each other, where amino acids are all different. So think about how you would explain that answer of describing the properties of monomers and the type of bonds that connect them in these biological molecules, and treat it almost like a little baby FRQ. So if you're practicing and looking to review, you're not going to want to be doing too many more multiple choice at this point. It's still good practice to see if you know the content and if you only got a few minutes. But I would now go ahead and write that answer out, right? You probably have a full notebook, but you could do it in the back because we clearly didn't use it all. And going through like, okay, this is chemistry of life. Here's this objective I'm trying to do. Can I do that with my material? And you can treat it open notes, kids. You have this content available to you when you take your AP Bio test, so know that, okay? It's not going to be considered cheating having your handwritten notes with you there. They are designing the questions that the answers aren't going to come straight out of something with like that you could look up on the internet. You're gonna have to analyze a new problem, right? But if you know all these basic pieces, you're gonna be able to analyze any problem. So if you are looking for these unit guides, and also at the end too, the like things to think about, tips for studying for the AP test, vocabulary you should know, these are all in here. if you don't have access to those, I put them on Schoology in the green folder where you could also find homework cover sheets and things like that. It's all just kind of housekeeping business. But each unit has one of those. So cell structure and function, there's an entire folder here, like describe the structure and or function of components and organelles. Like, how do these contribute to their function? Describe structural features that allow them to capture and store energy, right? So that one we postponed and we actually did during photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So rather than focusing on all this content and rereading your entire notebook, I would focus on the shorter tasks of the objectives and see if you could actually write out some answers. You have 4 weeks, right? And 6 units to review. So I don't know how that time splits up for you, but maybe prioritize whichever ones gave you more trouble and dedicate some more time to them and work on that in the next couple of weeks here. And as always, you can ask me for any help, any questions, things like that. If you can't find an answer or you're confused by an answer that you find, you just let me know. Schoology messages are coming right to my watch. So, miss you guys terribly and hope you are doing all right. I'm doing fine. See you around, guys. Bye.